Awesome. Hi, everybody. Hi, hello. My name is Samantha Rose. For those of you who don't already know me, I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and I have been drinking and sharing ketones for about 4.5 years now. And, ketones have completely changed my life in so many ways. And when I first got started, I was just a tired, unmotivated mom who was just stuck in the routine. Wake up, take the kids to school, do the things. I was unmotivated. I didn't have a lot of health goals. I wasn't making the healthiest eating habits. I wasn't moving my body. It was just blah. And one thing that I learned and a habit that I created from joining this incredible community, taking all these amazing products and putting all this healthy stuff into my body, it's completely changed the way I feel every day, the way I wake up every day, the way I go to sleep every day, the way I think, and just everything about my life has completely changed over time since I started drinking ketones. And the benefits that I noticed at first for me were the energy, focus. My brain was like lit like a Christmas tree, I always say. It just started working again. I just felt more clear. It was almost like a breath of fresh air, like some weight has been lifted off my shoulder. Like there wasn't this overwhelming feeling. I always talk about having a clear mind helps with not feeling so overwhelmed. And that's what ketones brought for me was a clear mind. And from then everything grew, everything just I kept making new health goals. And that's what we're going to talk about today is our health goals, right? Our health goals throughout this next 30 days. All of you guys that are on here right now are watching this as a replay are taking part in our 30-day health transformation challenge. And I want everybody to know that one of the most important things to do as you're getting started is identifying your goals and really committing to those goals. And for me at first, the word commitment was really intimidating, right? I was like, I don't want to commit to a lot. So I just want to remind all of you guys to just take a deep breath for a second because we're not going to make these huge major changes at first, and that's why we're doing this over 30 days, and that's why there's multiple different ways that you can boost and optimize your results that we'll go over in a minute. But just know that this is all about 1% better every single day. Okay, progress over perfection. We don't need to make a million huge major changes at first, because one thing that Dustin actually taught me is that's the opposite of what you should do. You're setting yourself up to fail almost. If you have all these major changes and all these things, it's like one thing at a time, 1% better every single day, better together. So I will recommend everybody use the tracking sheets. The tracking sheets are in the PDF. If you have not received that yet, we've sent it out through text and it's in the Facebook group chat. If you're not in the group chat yet, let the person know that you're working with, like, hey, I'm not in the group chat, or hey, I'm not receiving the text messages. Don't worry, we'll make sure that you get everything that you need throughout this journey. And, goals, the importance of those tracking sheets is because goals aren't just about weight. I'm getting a lot of questions about weight loss, and we're going to touch on that on this call. Dustin Schaffer's on, and he is literally the keto pro. Like anytime I have any type of question about anything on a health journey or for myself or for someone else, first person I think of is Dustin. He's been doing this for so long. He's been in this industry. I 100% trust him and his advice. So that's why I thought it'd be a really good idea to bring him on and chat with us, go over some stuff. I have some questions. If you guys have some questions for him, put it in the chat. We'll be keeping up with that and asking and answering questions throughout the call. But remember, goals, right before I bring him on, goals is the word goal doesn't just mean weight here. Okay. It's not just a weight loss thing. There's several different ways to track your journey, from mental to sleep to your energy to your appetite to the way you're feeling, right? Are you crashing in the afternoon? Did you used to crash in the afternoon? Are you more motivated? There's also inches, right? I have a lot of people who will lose inches before weight. I was one of them. I lose inches way before I lose massive numbers on the scales. And physical, like looking at you, like I have one pair of pants that I use to just compare and see like where my body is at and like how my clothes feel. That's important to me. That's one of my goals is I like being comfortable in my clothes, right? So I find clothes and I find my way to track. So just remember, when you're setting your goals, stay on track with multiple different areas. That way you're just not defining your success through one area. Okay, so I'm going to bring Dustin on, and I'm really excited for this. He's absolutely incredible. Dustin, are you there? I'm on my phone, so I can only see four
Well, hey,
people.
hey, hey! This guy
Huh?
sounds great. I can't wait to hear from him. So, just kidding.
I know.
Ah,
Who is this guy that we speak of?
well, I know what's this
Um,
facial hair all about. My wife has begged me to let it go, so I'm letting it go.
I was literally just about to say, I don't think I've ever seen Dustin Schaffer with facial hair.
Hey, I haven't either. I mean, I haven't either. So, well, good morning. There's a few of us here I see on the West Coast. So good morning. I'm super stoked to be on. This is probably my favorite topic to talk about, and well, just in general health and wellness. And so would love to answer questions, and please don't be shy. Ask anything,
Literally
anything. It
anything.
doesn't have to be anything. I'll make up a really good answer. I promise you. Jen, I got you. I'll make anything up. I'm just kidding.
And listen, if you don't feel comfortable with the question, just add at the end, I'm asking for a friend. That's my rule. I'm like, I'm asking for a friend, but okay, so I'll ask you some questions that I've received recently. And then we'll keep an eye on the chat too and let everybody do that. And then at the end, we're going to go over our intentions as well. But I just wanted Dustin to answer these questions first. So the first question is, hydration. Why is hydration important throughout the next 30 days, but even in your overall health journey in life?
Yeah, well, it's actually one of the biggest problems in our world is enough water and quality water. And so always have to define this. Hydration isn't the amount of water you have; it's the quality of the water you have. You got to think about it like our ancestors would have drank out of rivers. They went to drink out of maybe a lake or something like that, but like it would never been a pond. The water would have been very very mineralized. So adding electrolytes to your water and mitoplex to your water is really important. So I have 2 to 3 of those a day. And then drinking water that is spring water based. Those things really matter more than people can ever imagine. Bottled water, you just got to be careful with it. I can't say much more than that. But the reason why hydration is so important is it helps balance out it helps balance out our hydration. So we're less likely to retain and hold fluid. Some of you out there hold fluid. And often there's a lot of variables, but one main one is lack of potassium, not enough potassium. You need lots and lots and lots of potassium in your diet. And so there's a lot of good low carb vegetable potassium out there. So you just Google that. But the reason why hydration is so important is part of fat metabolism in the process of burning out your body utilizing fat is actually it excretes through your urine. So if you're not hydrating properly, it is slowing down your result of fat metabolics. And I just want to be clear, you don't have to be fat, have extra body fat to really want to be a good fat burner. Does that make sense? Samantha wants to be a good fat burner forever, because that means she stays healthier forever. So that process is really important. So hydration it's so important. And of course, it's going to alleviate headaches. It's going to help keep your energy up, all those other things too.
Love that. I am huge on hydration, and I've learned a lot from you about hydration and the importance of it. And that's one thing that I do every single day. Like I make myself drink a certain amount of water every single day. So thank you for that, guys. It'll change your life, I promise. The next question is, I'm going to kind of combine two of these. Can you talk about how to maximize fat loss and fat loss versus weight loss, the difference between the two?
Yeah. So the first thing is you have to keep in mind fat loss is for now in the new world that we live in. We don't live in the world our ancestors did. We live in a different world. And most people don't realize that 60% of Americans have a metabolic switch turned off. And you have to turn that switch back on if you ever want to get long-term results. And so the most important thing I can tell people about a fat loss journey is you got to be patient. It might take you 12 weeks to turn that switch back on. My sister, it took 8 weeks. She complained to me for 8 weeks, and now she's down 100 pounds. But if she would have quit any in that time, she'd be 200 pounds overweight now, because that switch is really important. And our product will turn that switch back on, but we don't know when. How long it's going to take for each individual person really matters. If you know anybody that's ever done like a shake diet, has anybody ever heard this? Have 2 shakes a day in a reasonable meal? Has anybody ever heard that concept? Or you're doing like a low calorie diet, or like a Weight Watchers where you're adding points and you're not eating a lot, and you maybe lost some weight, but then what ended up happening is that you end up gaining it back, or you gained it back and some back. Well, that's the difference between fat loss and weight loss. So weight loss means that you're willing to sacrifice muscle mass to move the scale. Fat loss means that you're only burning body fat as energy to move the scale, and you maintain your muscle mass. Why is this so important? Is that they did a study with The Biggest Loser. I hate that show. It's like to me, it was one of our biggest mistakes that we've ever made, is because they took these individuals, they abused them physically, and they never put them in keto. They were in ketosis for moments. I guarantee it, with how much exercise they were doing, but they were in a low calorie diet. Well, those individuals, after the show's over, they now are prone to not only gain all their weight back, but gain another 30% on top of it. And the last people in the world that need to gain that extra more weight are the ones that are already that big. That's because they focused on weight loss. They didn't focus on fat loss. And fat loss is the key. So to be a fat burner is the key. So there's a couple of things you need to do to really maintain your muscle mass. Is A, keep your ketone levels elevated. Well, drinking our product and doing a relatively low carb diet solves that. Done. Number two is eat enough protein. Get enough protein in your day, and your diet is super important. That's why I don't mind people doing one meal a day, but I primarily would prefer people that are really maximizing fat loss to do 2 meals a day, and then even every once in a while do 3, but then do Monday fast and then do reboot with us. And the reason why is that I'm finding that people are going, I'm not hungry, because they have 100 pounds to lose. That's 350,000 calories they don't have to eat. That's a lot of food. Our ancestors, again, never would have went through that. Does that make sense? They were constantly hunting for food. And if you go for 6 months without eating food, you're only eating 1 meal a day because you're not that hungry. I have a lady on our team, she's dropped 250 pounds, is what she did, but it didn't make her healthy. She wasn't super healthy. And the reason why is because she was not eating food. So she wasn't getting nutrients, the rest of the stuff in her from the food that she needed. So I would have preferred her to take another 6 months to lose the weight, because she could have stayed healthier through the journey. So maintaining muscle mass is really important. And that's the key to burning body fat. So you want to be in ketosis, and you want to keep your ketone levels high, and then you want to eat enough protein. And that's really the recipe there. There's more to it than that, but that's the 80% rule to get maximize fat loss, maximize fat loss and maintaining that muscle mass so you don't lose weight.
Yeah. Muscle mass is so important. I learned a lot about that at the first Keto Academy that I went to. That was one of the biggest things that stuck with me, was when Dr. Ken Ford talked about how we age and the picture of muscle mass from a 20-year-old to a 50-year-old. And it literally, it's imprinted in my brain, and it's one of my major goals. I'm like, muscle mass, protein. So somebody has asked, several people have asked, we have all different ages that are joining this challenge this month, and that drink ketones and are on their health journey. So one of the questions is, I'm 60 years old. Will this still work for me?
Ooh, yeah. Hey, Mary Beth, how are those biceps coming? Are you doing some exercises? Yeah. Mary Beth, how old are you, by the way? I mean, what, 49, 48?
Yeah, I feel 40, but I'm 63. I'll be 64 in just a couple weeks. And
What's your goal?
And I started drinking ketones when I was 61.
Oh my goodness. And what's your goal for Shred Timber?
Shred Timber is my arms, working on that. And I actually have another 8 pounds I want to lose, because I want to get to a certain point where I want to get below 180 and stay there. Right now, I bounce between 180 and 184. So I figure if I get 8 pounds off this month, that'll get me there.
There you go. Well, keep it up and focus on performance, and the fat loss will come, I promise. And
yes.
Your arms sore. You working those arms really well.
Yes.
Awesome. So the reason why it was funny, she just actually was on my screen, so I called her out on that, is Mary Beth reminds me of a way healthier, excited mom that I had when I started with this at 65. And so the most important thing as you get older, we always talk about the brain for the older generations. And Barbara, no yawning. I mean, that's just not, Barbara, you can't yawn. Stop that. Hey, sweet jams right here, sweet jams. But the brain is really, really important. But the one part that I don't talk enough about is the muscle mass for that older population. After the age, like Samantha said, after the age of 25, it really is. We start to, hormonally, we're more prone to lose muscle mass than gain it. And so for people that are a little bit older, the first thing you want to do is stop that cascade of losing muscle mass, and ketones are vital to that. But what I recommend, and this is my strong recommendation for you people that are a little bit older, we call them the second halfers. If you're in the second half of your life, drink a Keto Nat in the morning and a KetoPro in the afternoon. I think KetoPro is the most vital, probably one of the most important things you can add to your regimen after that certain age, because of the way it's formulated. It will help restore some of that muscle mass. My mom, that's what she does. Ketones in the morning, Keto Nat in the morning, KetoPro in the afternoon. And so you can slip an extra Keto Nat in there if you want. But the reason why is we want to maintain that muscle mass. And then the second thing about the aging population, or the second halfers, is you got to still move your body, and you got to do it in ways that you're having fun, but be okay with challenging yourself. Mary Beth, if she wants at 63 years old, if she wants to lean her arm, she can't do it just by doing a diet. She can't do it by just doing some 5-pound weights, it's not gonna change anything. She lifts a case of water out of the car, and that's more weight than a weight is. She actually has to go push her body doing exercises that's going to be hard to do. So, and I think that at all ages we should do that. If you're younger, learn how to do it now so that you know how to do it when you're older, because learning when you're older isn't easier, by the way. And that's where getting into the gym and using machines in the gym is such a viable way of training, because the machine kind of protects you from maybe hurting yourself. So I like machines. You're probably going to meet a very few trainers that say that, and I'll be honest, most of them are idiots. Machines are great because I can control the environment, and I can protect Barbara, who maybe doesn't know much about exercise, rather than doing a CrossFit dumbbell over her head and tearing her shoulder off. Right? The risk and reward wasn't there. So my point is getting into like a 24-hour fitness, getting into Orange Theory, getting into somewhere where it's a really uncontrolled environment that pushes you. Do that once or twice a week, and you add ketones to that. It'll change your life forever, and it's never too late. I'm not sure if I answered your question right.
No, that's great information, honestly. And I think it's my parents too. Both of my parents are that age as well, around that age. And both of them say to me regularly, I can't imagine my life without ketones. My mom, for example, lost a few pounds, like 20, when she first started drinking ketones, and it wasn't her intention. But she started making healthier choices. And she just said to me the other day, even if I never lost another pound, I would never stop drinking ketones. Like, she just ordered 12 boxes of sweet jam and snow cone. She's obsessed.
Yeah. I mean, this product is really developed for women above the age of 40. like it solves most of their challenges, if that makes sense, as long as they're willing to commit to the journey that it takes to turn that metabolic switch back on. And Samantha, there was a really good question in the chat box, and I'd love to answer that if that's okay.
Yeah, the 2 meals a day. That was good.
There's Tammy. Did I miss another one?
Then you answer Tammy, and then I'll ask you the next one.
Okay, Tammy, can you unmute by chance? I can't see you, so I can't judge you. So I have to. I want to ask you some questions. So Tammy asked a question, basically that she went strict keto, but she went low fat also, and she's gaining weight, not losing weight. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Okay, so cool. Go ahead.
So I adjusted my diet when I reached the plateau, and then it had the opposite effect on me.
Okay, you gain weight. Now, are you hungry? Have you been more hungry?
Probably.
Okay. So, and you mind if I ask kind of roughly how much weight are you trying to drop?
Yeah, my goal for shred timber is 10 to 15 pounds. That's
how much have you lost so far?
48.
Awesome. Congratulations. And do you work out?
I don't heavy work out, but I do walk and do movement daily.
Okay. I like a lot of movement. Are you kind of a go-getter?
I try to do over 10,000 steps daily. Okay. 10,000 to 15.
Perfect. Are you like me and you do it in your office of 12 by 12 and you don't actually leave the house and you still get 12,000 steps in?
No, I wish I was.
Okay. I can't sit still. I'm like, my wife's like, "Did you sit down?" Last night she's like, "Just sit down. It's 9 o'clock." I'm like, okay. Okay. So a couple things, Tammy. So basically what happens when people plateau is people often think they have to change a lot from what they did. And usually that's not the case. I think I've seen somebody else said that they plateaued in there too. The first thing I would ask you, are you doing what you did when you first lost the weight? and be honest with yourself. So the most common reasons people plateau, there's a few. I'm going to give you a few reasons, and you got me as a coach, and you're going to get me. You're going to get what I know. The first one is it might be the healthiest thing for you. What people don't realize is that if you've gained 50 pounds over 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, you store most of your toxins in your body fat. Losing body fat, your body has to go through a whole detoxification is a very important thing. That's why I'm a big fan of rebooting and what we do. And I believe in natural detoxification. Sometimes we need to medically support it with the right doctors. And there's only a few out there that actually understand that. But if you lose weight and you're pushing the toxins back into your system, if you overwhelm your body's system by losing weight too fast, and I've seen this many, many times, and if you guys want to know, I'll tell you a story. We had a lady that she couldn't lose weight. She lost some weight, then she plateaued and she couldn't lose weight. And she went through a lot of us coaches, like top coaches in the world. There's only a few coaches that have the certifications that I have and that a few of us have. And we finally send her back to kind of our mentor. And he's like, he couldn't get her to lose weight. We're like, what the heck's going on? Well, we started noticing that she started having a lot of other symptoms besides not losing weight. She just wasn't, her vitality wasn't there. She wasn't the same spunky person that she always was. And so we actually biopsied her fat tissue, and we found out that she had Tupperware in it. She grew up down the river from the Tupperware factory on the East Coast. And when she was a little girl, she basically consumed Tupperware, consumed it through food. Now, this is an extreme case situation, but I want you to keep in mind, this is how the body can work. She couldn't get the fat loss off because her body couldn't actually, when she tried to lose weight, Tupperware was getting back into her bloodstream and she couldn't detox it. So she would restore it back into fat because it was safer for her to be on her fat tissue than her body trying to get rid of it, eliminate it. And so once we understood that that's what her limitation was, and I'm saying this because we get exposed to a lot of things, especially you ladies, perfumes and everything else, all the lotions you put on your skin, you're storing yourself with crap, just so you know, you don't stress about it, but that's happening. And our body's pretty good at getting rid of that stuff. But sometimes this will happen. Well, for her, we had to sweat out the Tupperware. We had to sweat it out of her through saunas and all this other stuff. And then once we were able to get those levels down, we were able to drop her weight. But my point to that is that be aware that when you plateau, it might be because it's for your best good. Now, that you don't necessarily want to hear that, but just so you know, be patient. The reason why I say that is if you go change a 180 on what you're doing, if you've already lost 48 pounds, then you are doing a lot of things right. Does that make sense? It's never going to be that different than what you did. You're doing a lot of things right, because your body already supported it. If you plateau and then you go do a 180 and start changing things I went strict keto with low fat, I'm guessing that's not how you lost the 48 pounds. Not that you can't lose weight that way. It's actually a very good way to lose weight. A low fat, low calorie diet, or low fat, low calorie, low carb diet will lead towards fat loss. You can never sustain that though. It's not sustainable, but it will lead you there. And so I want you to keep in mind that that's one reason why people will sometimes plateau. The other reason people plateau is that 48 pounds later, your body's different. You're maybe not burning as many calories anymore. Carrying 150 pounds versus 100 pounds on your body, you're burning less calories at 100 pounds. Does that make sense? Every step you take is easier. So you may need to ramp up your activity a level to offset the calories that if the calories stayed the same. Does that make sense? You may have to work out more because you have less of you. You're not carrying 50 pounds anymore around. And so that's another reason why you plateau. But the biggest reasons I find people plateau is they actually increase things like nuts and seeds, and they increase things like dairy, or they're not active. They're not active enough. They're not physically being active. Okay. So those are the reasons why you plateau. So I want you to take a step back and go back. What did I do to lose the 48 pounds? Right. And primarily, if you really want to be good at burning fat and break through plateaus, reboot, 24 fast, eat 2 meals of protein a day, eat 2 meals of protein a day with your vegetables. You might have smaller meals to keep your calories in around 1,000 or 1,200 or 1,500 calories. And ladies, that's kind of where you're going to be for the most part, unless you're really active. So that's kind of where you're going to be from a calorie perspective, and be patient on that process. Let the body get healthy through that journey. And if you want to accelerate it through activity, accelerate through exercise. Try not to accelerate by restricting your diet more. The challenge when people start to go low fat is you're now screwing with your hormones. As soon as you go low fat, you're changing your hormones up. So I'd rather you not necessarily go low fat, maybe moderate it a little bit. If that's how you want to dip some of your calories, I'm fine with that. But if you ever meet a bodybuilder that goes low fat, low carb to get ready for a show, they're assholes. They're not nice. They're mean. They're grumpy. The reason why is they're basically in limbo land. Their body is not in a healthy place. They're looking good, but they can't maintain that, right? So they have to shift away from that. So modern day bodybuilders don't do that anymore. They actually only do it for like a week or two, and they maintain lean physique using a keto style diet all the time now. A lot of them are. So, so I hope that makes sense on those plateaus. So if you're a person that plateaus, really go back to the basics. Be careful of fat bombs. Be careful of nuts and seeds. If you're using a lot more almonds, using a lot more coconut oils or coconut flours, those things are dangerous. Those aren't something we should consume a lot of. Dairy, we shouldn't consume a lot of. Doesn't mean you can't have it, but if you started increasing it because it's keto or low carb, that might be the one thing that's actually causing you to limit it. And there's a reason, because it's having a different effect on you. And just keep in mind, 2/3 of our world's population shouldn't eat dairy. So it's a big number. It's not just a few people. Most people would be better off without it. And I tell you, I love it. Because of my autoimmune condition, Samantha gets it. We can't dabble on that stuff. We're in an extreme situation. We have to be extreme in our diet, unfortunately, to maintain our health. So I hope that made sense for those people that plateaued. But first off, keep in mind is it may be important that you plateaued for your health. I can talk for months on that. I have so many stories on what I've seen in Southern California or Northern California. We live in wine country where they crop spray, and I have to work with kids that have been living in a field of crop spray, meaning that fields are getting sprayed and they live by there. And then I work with them 10 years later, and y'all wouldn't want to see what I had to see to help these people get healthy. It's kind of crazy. But so we're all exposed to stuff. And so plateauing is sometimes a safe thing. And just remember, it's rarely that different from what you're currently doing. If you already had success, it's usually a 2-degree shift, not a 180. Exercise more, maybe tweak a little bit of what you're currently doing, and your body will start to go through it. And then get happy. Again, I can't express that much. Get happy. There's another secret in there.
I love that. I love that. You know, that we learned that tip at one of our events, and that is another thing that stuck with me. Now, when I go through my workouts, I make myself smile, because that like happiness thing, that smile thing, it actually works. And fun fact, it brings more oxygen. It allows you to get more oxygen. So be happy.
Yeah, pretty amazing. Actually, there's a stress hormone that it changes, and that helps with fat metabolism too. It's quite remarkable, the human body.
It is. Listen, that things stick with me. That's another one of those. Okay. So for my next question, I just want to go over really quick what the daily intentions are in a bullet point real quick. So and everybody else is clear too. And then I have another question for you. So for the next 30 days, what our intentions are to, from day 1 to 20, we're going to drink 1 pack of ketones per day. Okay. We're going to drink water, at least half your body weight in ounces of water every single day. We talked about hydration already and why that's so important. Follow a lower carb or a keto diet, whatever is an improvement, a 1% better, a 2% shift, better for what you're already doing. Let's make those shifts during the next 30 days, especially. And then 2 optional things that you can throw in there is intermittent fasting daily. And we have a guide for that we're going to send out. So if you want to talk about intermittent fasting, we could do that too before we jump off, and what exactly it is. And then move your body at least 20 minutes a day, whether it's walking, whatever it is, big or small, just move your body. And it's important. It's super important to do all these things. But we've also incorporated, if you want to do the fast, like Dustin mentioned, every single Monday, that's in there too as an optional optimizer. If you want to join the 60-hour reboot, a lot of people joined the 60-hour reboot. Not everybody did, but most people did. So my next question for you, based off of all of that, and then by the way, day 21 to day 30, we're going to go and do 2 packs of ketones per day.
Yeah.
Okay? But you can do 2 packs throughout the whole thing if you want to, but just to make it simple and make those small shifts, the last 10 days is 2 packs of ketones. So can you touch on the importance of movement and how it affects the uptake of ketones?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, that's kind of a cool thing. I always tell people you got to prioritize what your ultimate goals are. I got this question the other night was, if I want to lose weight, because most people come from fat loss, and let's be honest, so I have to be okay with talking about it more, because if you realize what ketones really do, it's a brain. It's after the age of 35, your brain starts to shrink and basically gap. You lose energy to it, and I don't care what you do or how healthy you are or what you're eating. If you're not therapeutically at a high ketone levels, your brain is not optimized. It's slowing down and you're aging faster. So get ketones in your brain. And then, so I always just like pound that into people's heads, but fat loss is such a big thing. So what's really cool is that when you drink ketones, it obviously going to help that brain out. But the study, Dr. Stephen Cunnane out of Canada did the study, and he's a very smart dude. And he studies the aging of the brain and lack of energy to the brain. And he's proven now over and over and over again that ketones improve all that and basically give the youth back to the mind. But he goes, if you drink ketones and you elevate your ketone levels and you just go for an hour walk, or not an hour walk, a mile walk, it increases like exponentially the amount of ketones into your brain, and it'll improve cognition even faster. So how much better would it be to start your day with a high brain wealth of cognition? And so, so drinking ketones before you move is super, super important, especially for anti-aging and longevity of the brain. And the better the brain works, the better that you maintain your whatever goals you have, if it's fat loss or if it's fitness goals. But also I literally just send a product to arguably the #1 female athlete in the entire world. She's a good friend of mine, and she's an Olympic gold medalist, multiple Olympic gold medals in the bobsled. And I just sent her product. She drinks the same product that Mary Beth drinks before getting her arms buff. And she drinks it before she gets in the bobsled. She drinks it before she trains. She goes, it's my gold medal. I'm going to get a screenshot of it, but she goes, it's my gold medal fuel. That's what she said. It's my gold medal fuel. And so using this before exercise is really vital because of what it does to the brain. Also, it helps fuel the muscle system in the heart. So to me, it's a really a no-brainer that this should be a tool that you would use in the fitness side of it. And when it comes to fitness, I'm a big fan. If you could, people say, what's ideal, what's optimal? Well, twice a week, get strong. And then the rest of the week, have fun, if that makes sense. Find Richard Simmons and dance to the oldies. I don't care. Do something that's fun, that keeps you moving. I'm a Richard Simmons nut, y'all. Like, I used to laugh at him, and now I love that he was willing just to be free. Because I think that's what people really need, is they need to be able to do something that they just love to do, and who cares. But at the same side is we have to supplement the fact that we don't lift heavy stuff anymore. That's a supplement. So working out twice a week at a gym, or something that can cause you like no more than 10 reps, like you have to work hard to do it, it's a supplement for the lack of strength that we need these days. And that's a anti-aging tip and a health tip for anybody that wants to lose body fat.
Love that. Okay, Cameron has a question. And she's
Hi. Hey, Dustin Schaffer.
Hi, Miss Cameron Moss.
Hi, everyone. Hey, so here's my question, Dustin. Someone in the chat just asked about someone gaining a pound or so in their first 5 days. So I actually, when I got started, I didn't weigh myself, but I ended up going down 3 pant sizes. And by the time I weighed, I was 6 pounds heavier. And it's so crazy because I lost weight, but I gained pounds, or you know what I mean? Like, I lost inches. So right. I think it's so important because thank goodness I wasn't someone that watched the scale so much, but some people are just wired that way. So can you talk about that, please?
Yes. If you want to have long-term success, you got to get rid of your scale, especially if you're attached to it emotionally. And I have videos after videos on that topic. The scale is one indicator of your life and your success. This program works, guaranteed 100% of the time. Now, it may not work at the pace that you want, and that doesn't change the fact that it works, right? I can talk about that and about everything, but the reality is it's like, I was trying to think of an analogy. I'm not gonna go there. It was the one I came up with was I was gonna go on online dating analogy, and this may not come out right. So this program works, you got to stay to it, but the scale is one metric of your success. I had a lady, she came in to see me. She had lost, I don't know, like 60, 70 pounds. And she came in and she was the happiest I'd ever seen her. Happy, 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 happy. And she looked amazing. So I have an analyzer of how to analyze body fat. I can actually tell where you carry your body fat is and your hormonal imbalance inside. Super cool program. And like I said, only a few people in the world have ever had this luxury to learn some of these programs I have. And I saw that her weight went up. She gained 3 pounds from the time before. And I do this each week with her. Well, she walked from where we weighed her, and I had to weigh her. Now she didn't know that the weight went up because I don't let her see the number. She went all the way up there, and well, I didn't think she saw it, to be honest, because she's not supposed to see it. I actually cover everything up. She went up there. We did a body fat. She lost body fat. She looked amazing, right? And she mood wise, I watched her mood change, and she saw that number on the scale. And then I realized it because she was acting differently. I'm like, what's going on? She's like, I gained weight from last week. I'm like, you look amazing. Her body fat went down. She felt good. She looked good. She looked amazing. But that one metric out of all the metrics I do, and I do a lot, only one had went up. Everything else went down. So it turned out that she was going to start her cycle in 2 days or a day and a half. And she started holding fluid, which is natural process, by the way. So it was important that her body started making those changes. So the scale will be your worst enemy if you let it. Now, some people are competitive by the scale, meaning that they see the scale and they like, I gained weight, I'm going to go for a walk. Michael Rutherford's that way, and he went crazy with it. So just keep that in mind as you're doing this. Just be careful with the scale. It's a mess up. But the reason why somebody might not lean out right away is usually hydration. Get some Mitoplex in your hand. I know we've been back ordered on that. You may be retaining and holding fluid, and that's why you're not whooshing out. It's called the whoosh effect. It has to do with some cellular hydration. So you might just need to hydrate more, get some more potassium in your diet, increase your potassium. Number one. Number two, most of the time that's the case. Number two, if your bowels, if you're backed up and you're not pooping well enough, that could be another reason why your body's not simulating the right way. And that's a variable that can happen to some people. And then number three, your scale's broken. It may not even be accurate. I've seen people get on scales and they stand at 2 times, 4 times. It's a different number. What do you choose? And are you weighing yourself butt naked first thing in the morning? Are you weighing yourself in the afternoon after you had a drink of ketones? Are you weighing yourself after a meal? All these things matter. So if you do weigh yourself and you want to do it consistently and you want to keep weighing yourself, no more than once a week, preferably once a month. And just believe that the process is going to work and believe that you'll change your life. And that'll be the key. The last thing I want you to do is you quit early because you think it's not working for you. Because guess what? You'll come back 3 years from now and going, I wish I would have stuck with it. Because I hear that every day. I get somebody coming back from 3 years ago. It's amazing. And because they just didn't stick to it, because they didn't commit to their health journey and they focused on one metric.
Heck yeah. Does that answer the question, Cam? Do you have any other questions?
Yes. No, thank you. That's perfect.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. So, I mean, there's literally so many questions. I could do this forever and I haven't been able to check the chat again, but, I'm not
taking so long to answer them. I'm a chatty Cathy, and I have a baseball game I take my son to in a little bit. So I only have like 7 minutes and I gotta hop off. We can do it again.
That's okay. I think everybody's really enjoying this. I know I am. So, and I know there's a lot of people that have never heard this type of information. This is great. This is perfect. So somebody asked in the chat, should you still eat 2 meals a day, even if you're not hungry?
There's a program. There's 2 programs that I think that, and you'll see me release all these. A lot of you guys haven't seen them yet. So Samantha's hearing it for the first time. There's 2 programs that I recommend. It's the introduction of ketones. If you're in the 30-day window and you're starting this out for your 30-day window, I recommend 2 meals a day. And I know you guys are, and the reason why it does the intermittent fasting. So you use ketones as your breakfast, and then you eat 2 meals a day and get the healthy quality foods. I tell people protein and low carb vegetables. You can use butter, olive oil, avocado oil to kind of make the vegetables taste good. And that extra fat is actually really good for us. That's kind of the recipe for success. And the reason why is that I want to make sure you're getting enough nutrients, keep enough protein levels up. And if you want to extend that, that's an intermittent fasting. That's what that means. You're just eating between noonish and 6-ish or 8 p.m. And then you're fasting the rest of the day using ketones. If you want to extend that fast, which I encourage everybody to get the 24 fast. I know some of you, maybe you're getting new and trying to figure this out, but it's an extension. That's a way to have one meal a day, and you do that once a week. And I like that recipe better. And then if you really want to extend it further, then use the reboot as a monthly fast. The reason why is, again, is if you're eating one meal a day, are you getting enough quality nutrients, vitamins, minerals, nutrients in your day by only eating one meal a day? How quality is your food? I think if you do that long term, I don't think that's a really good approach. Now remember, science can support that to say yes, and I've seen people have good success, but I work with a lot of people, and I just see the people. I'm the one that gets the calls in the back end. I'm the one that gets the text in the back end of things that they're losing weight, but then their skin's not looking as good, or they're not. You can tell there's other health things that are adding up. And I believe it's because they're too restricting themselves. So starting out for 30, 60 days, 2 meals a day, and then just do 24 fast, a reboot, great. Then I actually recommend people, phase 2 is metabolic mastery, which is where you do twice a week, you actually eat 3 meals a day, twice a week, instead of only 2 meals a day. And then you stay on the same program. And I think that that's going to be a new added program, and you're going to see me rolling that out. And that's for people that have been doing this for 60, 80, 90 days. And it's called metabolic mastery. Because what I'm finding after 6 years of doing this is that I think people need to start eating more, not less, which is funny because the world needs to eat less. Most of us need to eat less. We're getting good at eating less. But if you're not hungry, maybe, and I'm a big fan of ketones, but if ketones knock your appetite way down, then make sure you're only having no more than 2 a day for now. And let's get that appetite stabilized. And even if it's 2 smaller meals, but I'd rather you eat 2 smaller meals during the day, because I think that you're going to actually perform better. And that food is really, really important. So yeah, keep that in mind. I'm hungry all the time, so I can eat like 9 times a day. So that does not affect me the same way.
Yeah, that's funny that you say that. I had to make those very similar shifts of I wasn't hungry, and those smaller meals. Like at first when I looked at it, I was like, this is a meal. Like I just made it a little bit smaller. In the past, that meal would not fill me up. But once I started eating smaller meals, just spread them out into those 2 meals, it made such a difference. And
your body will love you for it. The digestive process, everything, it'll love you for
so much better.
Also bowel movements, there's a lot to it. So I really encourage that.
It's a huge difference. And I know you said you have to go, but as you were talking, it just reminded me. So my dad, I'm going to tell you like a quick story. My dad started drinking ketones, and he made a lot of the shifts that you just recommended. And most of the guidance I gave him came from you. My dad eats carbs. He eats like rice and noodles and all of the things and mashed potatoes. He drinks sweet tea with a lot of sugar in it. Okay. Like but he started eating 2 meals a day. He started using a scoop of coconut oil just on vegetables instead of just eating his vegetables. Every vegetable gets coconut oil now. He started drinking the KetoPro, the dairy-free. Okay, this is like incredible. And Mitoplex. Now, my dad used to in the past wake up in the middle of the night with like leg cramps to where I could hear him across the house, and he had to like walk it off for a couple minutes. And he's always been active, but he had body fat. And the last couple of months of him making these changes, still eating carbs, not following a strict diet, like eats bananas and nuts and all the things. He came to my house the other day, and I have a scale that measures body fat. And he always like, can I use your scale, Sam? And he downloads the app, and he's been watching. He's like, Sam, he's like, I just need you to know that those ketones, they're so amazing. He's like, I've never felt this good. And he's like, I'm at the same weight that I was in since I haven't been this weight since high school. He's like losing body fat. He texts me and calls me. He's like, my bike ride, I just went and then I mowed my lawn, and I've never felt so good. Like he's drastically changing just by all those shifts that you just mentioned as you were explaining that. So I highly recommend following Dustin, and all of his protocols are absolutely incredible. I've just watched the shift in my family. So it's like, it fills my heart. I wanted to share that with you guys. I'm excited about it.
I'm proud of him. That's awesome.
It is. It's so awesome. Like, I love it. He's like, I know you're probably tired of hearing this. I'm like, no, I'm not.
Well, what's funny is people that get the best results of this actually go into it with that mentality, that they're just using it as a health tool, because then remember, losing body fat is not a 180. There's some people out there that y'all don't know. Samantha and I got some stuff. right? We got some isms and some good conditions. So we talk about our diet. It's kind of weird extreme over here. Most people don't have to go to that level if they just would make the shift and be patient and just enjoy the process. But that's not the way we were wired. We're wired that, hey, I need to go on the diet. I need to follow this regimen. I really need to do this. So we give you those tools. But the reality is that, for most people, it's just little adjustments. And if you just keep making the little adjustments, you'll get to the end result. And I think, Samantha, you talked about that. Making the big changes, unless it's, health necessary, typically isn't what people need to do. It's just the little adjustments. And your dad's stubborn enough not to change too fast. And that's also leading to his success.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
With that said and done, my name
awesome.
I just got the whoop. My son has a baseball game in like 25 minutes. We have to get him to. But I would love to do this again, y'all. This is my favorite thing in the world to do. I love to do Q&A. So you guys still have questions. We don't have to wait a week or two to do it. If you guys have questions, just hit me personally. Mary Beth, I want to see those guns. Come on, I want to see them. I want to see all those workouts. Tag me in them so I can see what you're doing. Samantha, I appreciate you guys, and y'all just stick to this journey. I may have this little wisdom, but these ladies that are leading this have a lot of wisdom, and they know what they're talking about. They have probably more knowledge and understanding of the human body than most doctors do from a health perspective, and most fitness trainers do. Just so you know, they've helped more people than most of those individuals have. So lean on them too on getting some of those answers. And if you need more help, I'm definitely here to support you guys.
Thank you so much, Dustin. I really appreciate you. And yes, we can definitely schedule this in 2 weeks. We'll be at our midway point. So I think that's perfect time to do another Q&A if you're open to it.
Always.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.